Continuation, 1987 Constitution, Article 13, Section 9, Urban Land Reform and Housing. Section 9, the state shall, by law and for the common good, undertake in cooperation with the private sector a continuing program of urban land reform and housing which will make available at affordable cost decent housing and basic services to underprivileged and homeless citizens in urban centers and settlement areas. It shall also promote adequate employment opportunities to such citizens. In the implementation of such program, the state shall respect the rights of small property owners. Section 10, urban or rural poor dwellers shall not be evicted, nor their dwelling demolished, except in accordance with law and in a just and humane manner. No resettlement of urban or rural dwellers shall be undertaken without adequate consultation with them and the communities where they are to be relocated. Next, health, Section 11, the state shall adopt an integrated and comprehensive approach to health development which shall endeavor to make essential goods, health and other social services available to all the people at affordable costs. There shall be priority for the needs of the underprivileged, sick, elderly, disabled, women, and children. The state shall endeavor to provide free medical care to paupers. Section 12. The state shall establish and maintain an effective food and drug regulatory system and undertake appropriate health, manpower development, and research responsive to countries' health needs and problems. Section 13, the state shall establish a special agency for disabled persons for their rehabilitation, self-development, and self-reliance, and their integration into the mainstream of society. Next, women. Section 14, the state shall protect working women by providing safe and healthful working conditions, taking into account their maternal functions and such facilities and opportunities that will enhance their welfare and enable them to realize their full potential in the service of the nation. Role and rights of people's organizations. Section 15. The state shall respect the role of independent people's organizations to enable the people to pursue and protect within the democratic framework their legitimate and collective interests and aspirations through peaceful and lawful means. People's organizations are bona fide associations of citizens with demonstrated capacity to promote the public interest and with identifiable leadership, membership, and structure. Section 16, the right of the people and their organizations to effective and reasonable participation at all levels of social, political, and economic decision-making shall not be abridged. The state shall, by law, facilitate the establishment of adequate consultation mechanism. Next, human rights, Section 17, Paragraph 1, there is hereby created an independent office called the Commission on Human Rights. Number 2, Paragraph 2, the Commission shall be composed of a chairman and 4 members who must be natural-born citizens of the Philippines and a majority of whom shall be members of the bar. The term of office and other qualifications and disabilities of the members of the Commission shall be provided by law. Paragraph 3, until this commission is constituted, the existing Presidential Committee on Human Rights shall continue to exercise its present functions and powers. Paragraph 4, the approved annual appropriations of the Commission shall be automatically and regularly released. Section 18, the Commission on Human Rights shall have the following powers and functions. Paragraph 1, investigate on its own or on complaint by any party all forms of human rights violations involving civil and political rights. Paragraph 2, adopt its operational guidelines and rules of procedure and cite for contempt for violations thereof in accordance with the rules of court. Paragraph 3, provide appropriate legal measures for the protection of human rights of all persons within the Philippines as well as Filipinos residing abroad, and provide for preventive measures and legal aid services to the underprivileged whose human rights have been violated or need protection. Paragraph 4, exercise visitorial powers over jails, prisons, or detention facilities. 5, establish a continuing program of research, education, and information to enhance respect for the primacy of human rights. 6, recommend to Congress effective measures to promote human rights and to provide for compensation to victims of violations of human rights or their families. 7, monitor the Philippine government's compliance with international treaty obligations on human rights. 8, grant immunity from prosecution to any person whose testimony or whose possession of documents or other evidence is necessary or convenient to determine the truth in any investigation conducted by it or under its authority. 9, request the assistance of any department, bureau, office, or agency in the performance of its functions. 10, appoint its officers and employees in accordance with law. And 11, perform such other duties and functions as may be provided by law. Section 19, the Congress may provide for other cases of violations of human rights that should fall within the authority of the Commission, taking into account its recommendations. Next, Article 14, Education, Science and Technology, Arts, Culture, and Sports. On education, Section 1, the state shall protect and promote the right of all citizens to quality education at all levels and shall take appropriate steps to make such education accessible to all. Section 2, the state shall 1. Establish, maintain, and support a complete, adequate, and integrated system of education relevant to the needs of the people and society. 2. Establish and maintain a system of free public education in the elementary and high school levels without limiting the natural rights of parents to rear their children. Elementary education is compulsory for all children of school age. 3. Establish and maintain a system of scholarship grants, student loan programs, subsidies, and other incentives which shall be available to deserving students in both public and private schools, especially to the underprivileged. 4. Encourage non-formal, informal, and indigenous learning systems, as well as self-learning independent and out-of-school study programs, particularly those that respond to community needs. And 5. Provide adult citizens, the disabled, and out-of-school youth with training in civics, vocational efficiency, and other skills. Next, Section 3.1. All educational institutions shall include the study of the Constitution as part of the curricula. Number 2, they shall inculcate patriotism and nationalism, foster love of humanity, respect for human rights, appreciation of the role of national heroes in the historical development of the country, teach the rights and duties of citizenship, strengthen ethical and spiritual values, develop moral character and personal discipline, encourage critical and creative thinking, broaden scientific and technological knowledge, and promote vocational efficiency. Number 3, at the option expressed in writing by the parents or guardians, religion shall be allowed to be taught to their children or wards in public elementary and high schools within the regular class hours by instructors designated or approved by the religious authorities of the religion to which the children or wards belong without additional cost to the government. Section 4, Paragraph 1, the state recognizes the complementary roles of public and private institutions in the educational system and shall exercise reasonable supervision and regulation of all educational institutions. 2. Educational institutions other than those established by religious groups and mission boards shall be allowed solely by citizens of the Philippines or corporations or associations at least 60% of the capital of which is owned by such citizens. The Congress may, however, require increased Filipino equity and participation in all educational institutions. The control and administration of educational institutions shall be vested in the citizens of the Philippines. No educational institution shall be established exclusively for aliens, and no group of aliens shall comprise more than one-third of the enrollment in any school. The provisions of this subsection shall not apply to schools established for foreign diplomatic personnel and their dependents, and unless otherwise provided by law, for other foreign temporary residents. 3. All revenues and assets of non-stock, non-profit educational institutions used actually, directly, and exclusively for educational purposes shall be exempt from taxes and duties. Upon the dissolution or cessation of the corporate existence of such institution, their assets shall be disposed of in the manner provided by law. Proprietary educational institutions, including those cooperatively owned, may likewise be entitled to such exemptions subject to the limitations provided by law, including restrictions on dividends and provisions for reinvestment. 4. Subject to conditions prescribed by law, all grants, endowments, donations, or contributions used actually, directly, and exclusively for educational purposes shall be exempt from tax. Section 5, Paragraph 1, the state shall take into account regional and sectoral needs and conditions and shall encourage local planning in the development of educational policies and programs. 2. Academic freedom shall be enjoyed in all institutions of higher learning. 3. Every citizen has a right to select a profession or course of study, subject to fair, reasonable, and equitable admission and academic requirements. 4. The state shall enhance the right of teachers to professional advancement. Non-teaching, academic, and non-academic personnel shall enjoy the protection of the state. 5. The state shall assign the highest budgetary priority to education and ensure that teaching will attract and retain its rightful share of the best available talents through adequate remuneration and other means of job satisfaction and fulfillment. Next, language. Section 6. The national language of the Philippines is Filipino. As it evolves, it shall be further developed and enriched on the basis of existing Philippine and other languages, subject to provisions of law, and as the Congress may deem appropriate, the government shall take steps to initiate and sustain the use of Filipino as a medium of official communication and as language of instruction in the educational system. Section 7. For purposes of communication and instruction, the official language of the Philippines are Filipino and, until otherwise provided by law, English. The regional languages are the auxiliary official languages in the regions and shall serve as auxiliary media of instruction therein. Spanish and Arabic shall be promoted on a voluntary and optional basis. Section 8. This Constitution shall be promulgated in Filipino and English and shall be translated into major regional languages, Arabic and Spanish. Section 9. The Congress shall establish a National Language Commission composed of representatives of various regions and disciplines which shall undertake, coordinate, and promote researches for the development, propagation, and preservation of Filipino and other languages. Section 10. Next, Science and Technology. Section 10. Science and technology are essential for national development and progress. The state shall give priority to research and development, invention, innovation, and their utilization, and to science and technology, education, training, and services. It shall support indigenous, appropriate, and self-reliant scientific and technological capabilities and their application to the country's productive systems and national life. Section 11. The Congress may provide for incentives, including tax deductions, to encourage private participation in programs of basic and applied scientific research, scholarships, grants in aid, or other forms of incentives shall be provided to deserving science students, researchers, scientists, inventors, technologists, and specially gifted citizens. Section 12. The state shall regulate the transfer and promote the adoption or adaptation of technology from all sources for the national benefit. It shall encourage the widest participation of private groups, local governments, and community-based organizations in the generation and utilization of science and technology. Section 13. The state shall protect and secure the exclusive rights of scientists, inventors, artists, and other gifted citizens to their intellectual property and creations, particularly when beneficial to the people, for such period as may be provided by law. Next, arts and culture. Section 14. The state shall foster the preservation, enrichment, and dynamic evolution of a Filipino national culture based on the principle of unity in diversity in a climate of free artistic and intellectual expression. Section 15. Arts and letters shall enjoy the patronage of the state. The state shall conserve, promote, and popularize the nation's historical and cultural heritage and resources, as well as artistic creations. Section 16. All the country's artistic and historic wealth constitutes the cultural treasure of the nation and shall be under the protection of the state, which may regulate its disposition. Section 17. The state shall recognize, respect, and protect the rights of indigenous cultural communities to preserve and develop their cultures, traditions, and institutions. It shall consider these rights in the formulation of national plans and policies. Next, Section 18, Paragraph 1, the state shall ensure equal access to cultural opportunities through the educational system. Public or private cultural entities, scholarships, grants, and other incentives, and community cultural centers and other public venues. Number 2, the state shall encourage and support researches, and studies on the arts and culture. Next, Section 19, Paragraph 1, the state shall promote physical education and encourage sports programs, league competitions, and amateur sports, including training for international competitions to foster self-discipline, teamwork, and excellence for the development of a healthy and alert citizenry. Paragraph 2, all educational institutions shall undertake regular sports activities throughout the country in cooperation with athletic clubs and other sectors. Next, Article 15, the family. Section 1, the state recognizes the Filipino family as the foundation of the nation. Accordingly, it shall strengthen its solidarity and actively promote its total development. Section 2. Marriage as an inviolable social institution is the foundation of the family and shall be protected by the state. Section 3. The state shall defend, number 1, the right of spouses to found a family in accordance with their religious convictions and the demands of responsible parenthood. Number 2, the right of children to assistance, including proper care and nutrition, and special protection from all forms of neglect, abuse, cruelty, exploitation, and other conditions prejudicial to their development. Number 3, the right of the family to a family living, wage, and income. And 4, the right of families or family associations to participate in the planning and implementation of policies and programs that affect them. Section 4, the family has the duty to care for its elderly members, but the state may also do so through just programs of social security.